Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is a totally random video. I got 3 or 4 subjects buzzing in my head and I thought if I don't pick the camera up and do something, they're going to get lost, they'll get forgotten. Now I've started to make little jotty notes on a notebook by the computer. You know, if I come up with an idea or somebody makes a suggestion, I jot them down. And then as and when I can get to those little items, I can cross them off. And it builds up a little set of ideas. Now, 2 things have sparked off this video. First of all, Danny's latest one, talking about the length of videos and the way YouTube views them. And certainly YouTube in the past, if you worry about such things, it frowned a bit on longer videos. Well, as you lot know, some of my videos are quite long. Some of them are incredibly short. And I don't know how long this one's going to be. It will be as long as it needs to be, and when I stop rabbiting, it'll be over. Now that's how I see my videos. Everybody who does YouTube videos has a style of some sorts that they evolve over time. You know, I mean, when I first started, I had the idea of what I wanted my channel to be, and it's nothing like that now. You know, things change. Anyway, length of videos. My style is chatty. It's been said by many people, we like your chatty videos, or I like the friendly atmosphere, which I try and do. And I think I just sort of, the way I sum it up, I suppose, is that I like to think I create a friendly atmosphere, almost as though you're sitting here with me in a comfy chair with a nice glass of wine or a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, you know, semi-joining in. You know, I very rarely do what I call instructional videos where I talk at people. I try and talk to people. There is a difference. I hope that comes across, because that's what I try and do. Can't say it works all the time, but that's the effort I try and do. Now, an idea I've got, my Glorious 8th is coming up, where I film everything in bloom. And I thought, yeah, that might become a bit tedious, especially as some individuals seem to manage to get in every single video. No names mentioned. Show off. But, you know, things come and things go. But what I thought I'd try and do this time, because I'm still tethered, you know, I've still got to have to put up with being on the end of this all the time. And as such, putting the camera on the tripod under those circumstances is not actually so much of a big deal, as you know, I find the tripod restricts my freedom. But for that video this time, I thought, well, if I get the tripod out and set it up in a certain place, I have a certain place now that works quite well for plonking plants down and having a tripod in front of it. So I thought I might try this time actually showing everything in bloom as a close-up. Yeah, because it is just what's in bloom on that day. And I thought to do them in close-up would make a nice change. So I'll have a go at that. I might get bored halfway through and pick the camera up. You'll have to lump it. But on the Danny front, I had a look back at some of my old videos and some of Danny's old videos, and had a look at the people that were around making the comments in those days. And most of them aren't around anymore. So even the people watching come and go. They phase in, they phase out. Some stick with it. I mean, when I first started finding some orchid videos on YouTube, I didn't have all this. You know, I had some plants on a windowsill, like many have, and it evolved, and so have I. But I was there sort of in the beginning, you know, when Danny's channel was quite new. I refer to those days as the balcony days, and most of you nowadays probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but those that have been around watching YouTube videos a long time will know what I mean. You know, Danny used to grow her plants on a balcony, sort of extending out from the house, you know, and in a place where the winters were freezing cold and the light levels were appalling, you know, desperately trying to give Vandas enough light and get them to bloom. And did they bloom? Of course they did. they did. And that's what, little things like that triggered my interest, and I thought, well, that's a balcony. So it's got light coming in from some windows, probably more light than I could have. But I've got windows. I could do more, and I did more, and this is where I ended up. But I mean, I can remember far enough back when Danny actually had a profile picture with a picture of Danny in it. So I'm probably one of the few people that even knows what she looks like. Anyway, yeah, just some random thoughts. And then somebody else posted a comment that just sparked my interest, and that's point 2. Somebody said, what water do you use in your foggers? Because if I use tap water in my foggers, this is what the person said, all the calcium and stuff like that that's in the tap water gets turned into fog and promptly gets deposited in the air, which then goes all over your plants. Well, I don't use tap water in mine. I use, I've got a Brita filter jug, which is like a carbon filter, which gets rid of quite a lot of the stuff in the tap water. I mean, it's no RO unit. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't even come close to what the RO unit does, but that's what goes in the foggers. And every now and again I see some little dots on the leaves, little white dots, and I go straight to the magnifying glass to find out what they are, and are they moving? Have they got legs? Do they need to die? Preferably faster rather than slower. And it suddenly dawned on me, these are probably the calcium deposits from the foggers. And one in particular, it's not there now at the moment, it's in on the dining room table, but that giant maxillaria that has the spidery blooms, it lives down there at the moment because I need to keep it separated because I was worried that it might have ring spot virus. Well, I don't think it has, but that's a separate issue. But it lives down there. The fogger is constantly depositing fog on it. The fog's got calcium in it. And I'm reasonably certain now that it's actually spots from the flipping fogger. See if I can show you. You see the little white dots? Yeah, maybe the camera's not picking it up. I bet the sound quality's changed now I've come in here. But they are there. And what got me thinking is sometimes those little spots are little streaks. And they just brush off. So I think somebody's random comment purely about water in the fogger may have solved one of my little niggles, because I keep wondering what the hell those white dots are. I think I've solved the problem. Shows on some plants more than others, but I just notice it every now and again. I mean, look, there's some on these Vanda leaves. These are not living things, they're just spots. If they were living things, I'd have to do something about them. Anyway, short videos, long videos, I do some of each. And as I said, they end when I stop rabbiting, which I'm just about to do, so I've got to get on with something else. There's a bottle of chilled wine in the fridge and an empty glass. They need my attention. It's a hot day today, the sun's out. They need my attention. They need to be put together so that I can go and sit outside and enjoy some nice weather before it breaks. And I start complaining that it's dull and miserable again. So that's what I'm about to get up to. But, you know, some people have been making videos for a long time. You know, Danny's one of them, Brad's one of them. There's a few around that have been doing this a long time now. And their earlier videos are nothing like the ones they make now. You know, some are instructional. Some don't ever have words. They just have nice plants and perhaps a bit of music. Some of them are 30 seconds long. Some of them are 30 minutes long. But all those differences make the variety that I personally like. And I enjoy first thing in the morning watching the other people's videos. I don't comment on every one. Sometimes I don't feel that there's anything to say. You know, so sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. But, you know, the length of a video to me is not important. What's important to me is, does somebody enjoy watching it? Whether they learn something or not is like almost a secondary function. Was it enjoyable? Did you shut down after 2 or 3 minutes of a 20-minute video because, why? Well, whatever the reason. But, you know, I like to think that in my videos are snippets of information, not hard at you instructional type things, just the odd snippet here and there, on the grounds that if you don't want to miss anything, you're going to have to watch it till the end. And yes, I am joking. Viewing is not compulsory. Yeah, I mean, there are some people who make regular videos that I can't watch. I just can't listen to them. Sorry, it's my failing, not theirs. You know, they have massive audiences, but I can't watch them. They drive me up the wall. And there are others I look forward to them posting because they don't do it very often. And I have noticed recently, I don't know whether others have, there are a few what I call relatively regular video makers that have gone missing. See if you can think who I mean. There's 2 in particular that have just gone missing recently. Now I hope everything's okay, and I hope they're well, and you know, there's nothing befallen them or anything. I mean, people's jobs change, people move house, there's all sorts of reasons for having a quiet time on YouTube, but yeah, there's a couple in particular that I've even felt the need to send them a personal message saying, is everything okay? You've been away for a while. Are we all good? Yeah? You know, I feel that some people are quite like friends. I know they're only YouTube friends, you know, and some of them are the other side of the flipping world. But, you know, somebody going missing for a couple of months seems odd. So, I'm chasing a few people up. Anyway, that was all. White dots. Length of videos, and those that have been doing it a hell of a long time and they're still doing it, and I look at those people for inspiration. I know who inspired me to start growing more orchids. I thought, well, if that's how they grow orchids and where they grow orchids, if they can do it, then I'm certainly willing to have a go at it. And it expanded my collection to the point where I ran out of windowsills, and you know, I ended up here. Now I've got a job to get in here. There's so many plants. Even the poor old cat's been banished and lost his chair. An update. Pussycat has found the chair in the hall. So he's still got his chair. And I don't think he's fussed where it is. It's just out of my way. That's the main thing. Anyway, so length of videos, white dots, and you know, at least one idea for changing what I class as a regular monthly video. So that's what's coming up next. Whether I will be detached from my umbilical cord by then, I don't know, but I still think I quite like the idea of doing each bloom as a real close-up using the tripod. We'll see how we go with that. Yeah, so thanks for dropping by. Just a chatty one, nothing in particular, but strange how one subject leads to another, and one person's concern suddenly solves one of your own problems, which is what it's just done. Now I'm wondering at that. That is the beginnings of what's known as sooty mould. Now this is often created when not wet, but moisture is around heavily on leaves and stays there, and it allows fungal infections to get a hold. Now that sort of thing will just wipe off, and obviously my plants dry out in between times. There was a time when that Miltoniopsis was the other side of that fogger. So if the fan didn't move the fog away from the fogger, it dropped directly down on that plant. Yeah, and that's the result. Needs a wipe off. This is not serious, this sooty mould as it's called. It just isn't. It's a different type of surface mould that is like a dust. But it is a form of infection. It does need I was just going to lick my thumb and wipe it off to show you, having just wiped it all over the mould. No, I won't do that. I just won't. I'm starting to dip my finger in something, something that hasn't been in the mould. And hopefully now, with a bit of moisture, you can see it just wipes off. It's not a big deal. It just isn't. I've had that before, and as I say, it just disappears on its own most of the time. But I'm wondering, some of the specks on my leaves, you know, like this. It looks like bug damage. But look where it lives. It's right next to the fogger at the moment because it's in bloom, and those two plants have been there a while now. They're getting fogged. And I wonder if that, you know, what could be a concentrated... Look at where the fog goes on the top of the unit. That's concentrated calcium being deposited on plastic and turning white. Yeah, I wonder. Food for thought. Quite honestly, at this time of year, I get through... That holds 3.5 litres. That holds, I can't remember whether it was 4.5 or 5, and so does that one. Sorry, I must stop doing that. I know when I whiz that camera around like that, it actually affects some people adversely. I don't need to say any more, but I try not to do it. Try to move the camera slowly, because I know, you know, it's as bad as saying, you know, on the news when they say there may be some flashing images. Well, those statements are said for a reason. But yeah, so 4.5, that's 9, and 3.5, say 12 litres, and on a day like today it's going to use nearly all of that. For me to put RO water in the foggers, 12 litres a day, my RO unit would probably need to be on virtually every day, and that's an effort I'm not sure I'm prepared to do. But what I can do, because I've seen this work, is when I put my water through the filter jug and it comes out the other end, it basically halves the TDS reading. But just as an experiment the other day, what I did was then put that filtered water through the filter again, and it halved it again. So I think during the day when I'm not using my filter jug much, because I mean it gets used to fill the kettle up, it gets used to cook rice in, you know, it's basically just, I avoid using tap water with any of my food or cooking or drinks. I use the filtered water. So during the day, after I've finished drinking coffee, lunchtime, the jug hardly gets used. So I could be building up a stock of double or treble filtered water for my foggers, so that the water that goes in has got next to no calcium in it. I might try that for a while. You know, it's only a hot weather problem. I mean, during the winter I can go sometimes as much as a couple of weeks and the foggers don't even turn on. So obviously the amount of water they're using is next to nothing. I can cope with that. But this time of year they get filled up most days and they use that water. So I might give that a try. Yeah. It's got to be worth it, and whoever that was who just asked what water I use, thank you, because it made me think about something I don't think about. I just do. Just like a habit, a mechanical habit. In the morning, get up, have a look at the YouTube channels, have a look at my comments, deal with those while I drink my coffee, and then go out and get another coffee and start filling up the foggers. And you know, it's just like a little routine. I didn't stop and think about what water was being used and what effect it could be having. But the lady's right, or gentleman, I think it was a lady, you know, if you put tap water in a fogger and it produces a fine mist, well, all that calcium and stuff that was in the tap water is in that mist, isn't it? It's not going to magically disappear. It's going to get deposited all around your plants. And if it's heavy enough, it shows. So I think that's a problem I need to deal with. Anyway, I bet that's turned out a lot longer than at first when I started. I thought I'll do a quick video. Well, you know me. Right, that's all. Rabbiting enough, that wine's waiting for me. So I have a video in the pipeline which I will post later this evening when I fall asleep in front of the telly. That can be posting in the background. So there'll be another one later today that's quite a long one. And this one's probably going to wait till tomorrow now, as it's not relevant to anything or the calendar or anything like that. So it'll give me something to post tomorrow if I don't feel like filming anything else. So thanks for dropping by, and see you next time. Bye for now. I don't flipping believe it. I got out of my chair, because I was actually doing some work on the computer, to go and film this video, So I don't know how long I was gone for, however long the video is. And when I come back, that cat has pinched my chair. The other cat's out on the other chair out of the grow room in the hall. That cat's pinched the computer chair. Well, blow you. I'm going to pour a glass of wine and go and sit outside. Yeah.